Seveneves is a 2015 sci-fi novel by Neal Stephenson. The story starts at year zero when the world only has one moon. It's our world, essentially. A scientist is looking through a telescope when the moon explodes. This happens immediately. I'm not spoiling the story here, guys. This is the premise. And noticeably, in 7 large pieces. This has to be in a vaguely contemporary timeline, as the ISS is still up in the sky, the start vaguely reminds me of Fritz Leiber's The Wanderer, but it doesn't go for horror so much, and then goes in a very different direction than The Wanderer. In particular, it's pretty much to survive this new age, especially as a disaster approaches for most of Earth's population via a hard rain. The immediate solution is to get people into, arclit habitats, these eaves, though that kind of also comes in more into the story, which I can't really talk too much about. But, of course, named after the first woman in Judeo-Christian myth. After many, many years, thousands, days, has resulted in 7 very different peoples, descended from, 9 technically. And, anyways, that's kind of the back of the book stuff. I won't talk about it much. Anyways, Homo sapiens is not quite the same, right? It's saved, but it's not quite the same. The book itself is a story of various people over a large period of time, but separated into 3 parts. The information I've shared is, again, the premise. Beyond that it's hard to get into plot specifics. It builds up to this great epic by figuring out the survival of the race. It's grim but impressive, and the effort put into it is, I don't know, I can clap, I guess. It goes from near future apocalyptic hard sci-fi to further down the road big ideas that are more fantastic but plausible. And I like both these things, though, and the technicalities sometimes aren't that entertaining for me, as it very much is written like hard sci-fi. I guess I'm no engineer or physicist, I just think the concept is cool. When dealing with the death of lots of people, I feel wrong, kind of in my gut, but I like the positives that we get from this book, too. I'm somewhat reminded of the 2009 movie Knowing, or Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End, for parts of this book. And I do think it's funny, but probably on purpose, that the United States manages to do a couple things, even in these circumstances. And when the route to Seveneves is kind of a thrill ride and not what I was expecting. Part 3 is very different. But again, requires spoilers from parts 1 and 2, so I won't really tell you. But it has a very interesting world. But is kind of weak story-wise. It's fun, but the cool big idea didn't really land into interesting plot or even really interesting characters. And overall, I enjoyed the what-if aspects and the exploration of that, but didn't find it the most exciting thing I've ever read. I did very much enjoy Snow Crash by Stephenson. I enjoyed that much more than this. Though there's some fun things, like the red versus blue stuff is rather fun. But again, very much what if, big idea. If you really connect to the idea, you'll probably have a good time with this. I just think plot-wise, the first 2 parts is fine. Plot-wise for the third parts, and not the best. And character-wise, really the whole time, I just don't really care for it. But part 3 is the most interesting in some aspects, but also the least engaging. Anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I'll catch you next time.